Hi, everybody. Welcome to All There Is. I'm your host, Kelly Bargabos. Before we jump in our topic, I just want to remind you that my new book, Here to Lead, is available on Amazon, on Barnes & Noble. You can also go to kellybargabos.com, and I have links to both of those sites so you can purchase the book if it is something that you are interested in. And Christmas is coming, so it might make a great gift for your staff or your boss, or someone that you would like to share some leadership thoughts and skills with. Sometimes it's a great way to open up a conversation with somebody that you're struggling to work with and not quite sure how to bring some of those challenges up. You know, maybe sharing this book together would be a great way to do that. What I really want to talk about today is the second episode in our series, How to Be President. So this is How to Be President Part 2, What the World Needs Now. In our last episode, I introduced this new little mini-series I'm doing because it's election season and just getting out some messages to our next president, our next presidential candidates, because it's something that I feel very passionate about. I have a lot of thoughts, I have a lot of opinions, and I'm sure I'm not alone. Just thought it would be fun to get those out into the world just in case. You never know. Our next presidential candidate could be listening right now. Just want them to have this information before they sign up for the biggest job in the world. So today's topic is leadership. It seems like it should be a given, but I'm not quite sure everybody gets it. That despite all of the things we need, we need so many things in a president, right? And for me, what it really all boils down to at the end of the day, the one skill that we need more than anything is leadership. And so in this episode, I get into why. Why is leadership so important? Why do we need leaders in our lives and in our culture and in our government, in our society, in our world? Why do we need them? What do they give us that's so important? Why are we always talking about leadership? It almost becomes a buzzword. In this episode, I break down why, what leadership gives us. And in our next episode, I'm going to dig into a little bit about what kind of leader we need. What does that leader look like? There's all different types of leaders and different profiles of leaders. And so in the third episode in this little mini series, I'll talk about that a little bit more. But thanks for tuning in today. Enjoy. I like to sing, and I'm not particularly good at it, but I just love to do it. In the car, in the shower. Ever since I was a little girl, I used to sit out on the swing set and swing and sing my songs. And it's just something that I've always loved to do. A couple of years ago, my husband got me a Bluetooth microphone that I can pair with my iPhone and do my own little karaoke at home. It's really corny and cheesy, but I love to do it. I drive my family a little crazy. I have a lot of brothers and sisters and nieces and nephews, and they are not shy about just rolling their eyes and making fun of me, but can't help it. So I often have songs rolling around in my head. And usually at the drop of the hat, any word can trigger me and I can come up with a song with that word in it. And lately, I've had this old song from the 70s rolling around in my head. I used to listen to it when I was a little girl. And it's the "What the world needs now is love, sweet love. It's the only thing that there's just too little of." I think Jackie DeShannon sang it. And I love that song. It's a sweet, very sweet sentiment. It's a sweet song. But I think what the world really needs right now more than anything is leadership. Authentic leadership. We have a serious leadership crisis in our country, in my opinion. Politically, in the public health area, in leadership of our police departments. And yes, I know that police departments are locally governed, not at a federal or national level, but I still think we need some sort of federal national leadership in that area. We need leadership in addressing racial injustice. We need leadership in addressing the homelessness crisis, in the COVID-19, in faith, in religion. And I just see a huge void in this area. Now, you may already disagree with me and be thinking, what is she talking about? How can leadership be more important than love? Love is the only thing. Love wins. Love rules. And I agree with you 110%. In fact, in February, I'm going to devote some episodes to love because I do believe that love, especially agape love, can be world-changing and life-changing, and it's necessary. But we need leadership, and we need it desperately. Now, you also may be thinking, what is she talking about? Because we have leaders. We just elected a couple of leaders. Maybe Trump was your leader. Maybe Biden's your leader. We have people in positions with titles of leadership, but leadership is so much more than that. Being a leader is more than the position you hold, the title you have, the degree you've earned, the money you make, or the size of your company, the size of the department or team that you manage. Being a leader is so much more than appearances, elections, political positions, fancy corner offices, or impressive titles and salaries. So if that's the case, if that's true, then, what is leadership? Leadership is one of those words where there are as many answers to this question as there are books written about this topic. There is so much out there on leadership. The truth is there are many definitions, and sure, they have some common elements and attributes, but at the end of the day, leadership and how you define it and what resonates for you is pretty personal. I developed my own leadership definition many years ago when I was participating in this intense year-long leadership program called Leadership Greater Syracuse. And it goes like this. Leadership is the ability to influence diverse people or situations outside the circle of one's control with integrity, charisma, vision, and passion. True leaders are servants of the people they lead and the vision that inspires them. Now, it's clearly not the only definition, nor is it the best articulated, but it hits on the key points for me. And when I check in with it, even all these years later, it still resonates with me. Now, if you Google what is leadership, you'll get answers like, silly ones like, what is leadership? Well, it's the action of leading a group of people or an organization. It's the state or position of being a leader, which that is true. And then you'll get into some more corporate-y, buzzwordy kind of leadership definitions that it maximizes people's efforts around the achievement of a goal. It's social influence, blah, blah, blah. There's no shortage of definitions of leadership out there. That is for sure. This is the one that resonates with me. But at the end of the day, I'm not interested in even my own definition, fancy buzzwords, corporate BS. With authentic leadership, I know it when I see it. You know it when you see it. I'm more interested in what leadership looks like on a daily basis in the trenches when we are faced with real crises in the midst of a worldwide pandemic, in the midst of citizens of our country getting murdered on the streets by people who are supposed to protect them. I'm more interested in leadership when we have insurgents storming our Capitol building. I am more interested in leadership when our economy is crashing and people need help and we need a stimulus package. That's when I'm really interested in authentic leadership. We can find a definition that we like or not, but why do we need it? Why do I say that what the world needs right now is leadership? What does leadership do for us? Well, I think there's 4 primary things that leadership does for us. And that is leadership provides vision, unity, inspiration, and strength. Okay? So vision. Leadership provides vision. Proverbs 29:18, which is a scripture in the Bible, says that where there is no vision, the people perish. Vision allows us to see what is possible, where we need to go. And it also gives us a plan and a path on how we get there. Leaders can have that vision about where we need to go, and then they can also see how to get there, what the map looks like, what the roadmap is, what directions we need to follow. And we need vision as a collective group because as individuals, we are pulled in so many different directions, right? We all have different priorities, needs, crises going on in our lives, egos. We all have different resources available to us, privileges, abilities, whether they are physical or intellectual or otherwise. We are all caught up in the weeds of our own life. So much so that we need someone who can see above and outside all of that and give us a vision, someone who can help us imagine a different future than the one we've been handed. And not just imagine it, but lead us on the path to get there. Unity. Leadership brings people together around a common goal. In spite of everything that is happening in our country right now, I personally believe that most people want the same things. And I know we see a lot of ugliness on the news and in social media with our own friend groups, and there's just a lot of rhetoric back and forth that sometimes isn't very nice. I do believe that the majority of people are good people and that we all want the same things. One of my credos in life, and something that this whole podcast endeavor was founded on, and something that I included at the beginning of the book, Chasing the Merry-Go-Round, is this. Home is a place all of us want to be. We all want to have our corner of the world, surrounded by people who know us, accept us, love us, a place where we are safe, warm, fed, a place where we have enough, where we are enough. This is all there is. And I also believe that how we care for those who need help has an everlasting impact, and that if we can help people meet their basic needs of their spirit, soul, and body, it allows them the ability to keep their own corner of the world, their home, safe and prosperous for them and their family, right? This is all there is. So I believe that at our core, as human beings, that is what we all want. And if we all want the same thing, I believe that we can rally around that. Because the truth is, I do believe we all want that same thing, but we all have different ideas on how to get there. And that's okay. When I say unity, I'm not saying that everybody has to follow the same path. There is no one path for everyone. I think when I talk about unity in the context of leadership, I'm talking about someone who can stand up and remind us that, yes, this group of people thinks we go about it this way. This group of people thinks we go about it this way. That's fine, but let's remember that this is what we all want, right? We all want a home. We all want to have enough. We all want our corner of the world. And we need someone who can help us unite around that when we're pulled in all these different directions. Inspiration. Leadership provides inspiration. And while, like I said, I believe that most people are good and there is so much beauty surrounding us in this life, and there are kind, gentle souls who spend their whole lives doing for others. But there's a lot happening that is not good, and we are confronted with it on a daily basis. Our access to news 24/7, the sensational nature of it, the way some of our so-called leaders are behaving, and the devastating stories that are in our face, the things we are dealing with as a country, can be overwhelming and discouraging. Why haven't we made more progress in the areas of social justice? We watched a man get murdered in front of our eyes, and because of the way everything is recorded now, and you can replay that video of George Floyd was what I'm referring to, being murdered, and you can sit there and watch it. It feels like you're on that street watching it happen, and it's devastating to feel helpless, like we're standing by and watching this happen. Why did this happen? Why can't I do anything to stop it? Perhaps we can't even worry about what is happening on a national scale because we lost our job and we're consumed with trying to make our next mortgage payment so our family doesn't end up sleeping in our car. Or maybe we're trying to figure out how to buy groceries that week or find health insurance because our 4-year-old was just diagnosed with leukemia. We need inspiration from our leaders to remind us of who we are, what we're capable of, and that we can impact and change the world if we believe that we can, if we come together, if we work hard at it. Finally, strength. Authentic leadership gives us strength. It gives us the resolve, the determination, the resilience to stay in it for the long game, to go the distance, to get back up when we fall, to turn away from those things that hold us down and hold us back. Leadership sends a message to our enemies and those who wish us harm. A leader can be strong for us when we're too weak to keep going. So vision, unity, inspiration, strength. Those are the reasons that I believe we need authentic leadership. So let's get practical. What does it really look like? What is an authentic leader? I keep using this term, authentic leader. I describe myself as an authentic leader because that's what I aspire to. And I have a long way to go. I'm working on it. I screw up, I mess up as a leader at my job, and I'm still a work in progress, but it is definitely what I aspire to be. If you are an authentic leader, you are honest, committed, flawed, curious, and open. Authentic leadership is also self-aware, not ruled by fear. This is very important in our world today. Not making decisions out of fear. comfortable with making mistakes, and able to make the tough decisions, all while remaining vulnerable and transparent. And this is someone who is willing to stand up and say, you know what? I know I said this last week, but rather than dig my heels in and stand behind it, I've got some new information and I need to change my stance on this. This is what I believe now. This is my public position. And I don't think we have enough of that, especially in politics, right? There's not enough vulnerability and transparency. A leader doesn't have to be perfect, and they need to be comfortable with that they can stand up and say, you know what, I screwed up. Here's where I went wrong last week. I want to apologize. I own it. I want to move forward, and here's what I'm going to do differently. And, they are able to change their minds, to change their position on things. That's what authentic leadership is to me, and I think something that we so desperately need right now. Authentic leaders are collaborative, which means that they can rely on the expertise of others. They don't need to be the one with all the answers. It's impossible for one human being to know everything, and that's okay. They just need to be able to find the answers or the people that have them and build strong teams around them, and also hold those teams accountable, which is often a missing piece. An authentic leader is capable. They need to have the skill set for whatever leadership position they're in. If it's business, they need to have that business acumen. They need to be educated in whatever area, trained, hardworking, focused. To me, that all speaks to capability. They need to be capable to do the job that they're doing. And finally, an authentic leader is strong, decisive, accountable, willing to make the tough decisions, to have the tough conversations. When we're looking for a leader, we need to look for these things. We need to look for these attributes. Can this person provide vision and unity, inspiration and strength? Can this person that I'm voting for provide those things? Can this person that I'm voting for or hiring or following? Oftentimes, we have to pick which leader we're going to follow. Does the person you're following or electing have these skills? Are they able to provide vision, unity, inspiration, and strength? Are they authentic? Are they vulnerable enough to be transparent, open, and honest, willing to make mistakes and be imperfect? Are they willing to collaborate? Are they willing to hold their teams accountable and themselves accountable? Are they capable? Do they have the capability to do the job that you're expecting them to do? Are they strong enough? And I think we can all think about these things when we are deciding who to elect, who to hire, who to lead, and maybe even in terms of our own life. So that's all I wanted to say about leadership, something I'm very passionate about. I have another podcast called Here to Lead, where I talk about leadership in the context of business and using our leadership to execute strategy, affect change, and drive results. So you can check that out. It's available on Apple, Spotify, Stitcher, my website. But even in my personal life and in our world at large, I just think leadership is one of the most important things and definitely something that we need right now. So think about that this week. I hope it resonated with you. Well, that's it, everybody. You can find more information and contact me by going to my website, kellybargabas.com/podcast. And if you got something useful by listening today, please share all there is with your friends. I'd appreciate it. Take care.